Okay, I suspect that we're dealing with something to do with these 4x4 lights, anti-lock brakes, and brake lights coming on. No lights right now. We'll give it a little bit of goose here so we get up on the road and see what we get. And there we go. That's exactly the lights we're talking about right there. We've got the 4x4 light on. We got the brake and the ABS light on. Intermittent and bothersome. Not a particular danger at this point, however, given reduced traction situations, the four-wheel drive is inactive, and is the anti-lock brake. So ABS is inactive, and she can come right around on you if you stomp on the brakes. It's a dangerous situation for a unskilled driver. Four by four light on, brake and ABS light on. Okay, we're going to step outside the vehicle and we're going to listen to see when we shut it out. We'll go right straight down from the driver's seat here. Straight down underneath and see if we hear something when we shut it off. Do you hear that ticking? Let's listen for it one more time. Start the vehicle up. Okay, now the lights are off. It's an intermittent problem. Let's see, when we turn it off, do we hear the ticking? Okay, we're looking underneath the vehicle. Listen to the ticking. Okay, those symptoms of the lights and that ticking, we're going to do a little research on, and we'll follow up. Okay, we've done a little bit of research. We've gone on the forums, we've looked in the books, and done as much online research as we can. Based on what we're seeing, the three warning lights, 4x4 inactive, ABS light and brake light, noticeable clicking when turning the ignition off on the 2005 BMW X5. We're going to zero in on a component that's called the transfer case actuator, and it's a electromechanical component which appears to sometimes get a worn gear in it. It's about $1,100-$1,200 part if you buy it at the dealership, and once they change it over because of the resistors and whatever in the assembly, they need to coat it. So that's where us guys who work on cars at home get in a little bit of trouble. So let's slide under there and see if we can identify that. Okay, there's the driver's door on the X5. Driver's door, we're going straight down, and we're just going to have a roll underneath here and have a peek at where that unit is. And right there is the unit in question. It's got the plug coming off it. That's the electrical motor on the end, and then around the side is the housing where the gears are. So we're going to take that off and have a look at it. There's the back again. We've got the transfer case actuator out of the car. It's not too tough a job. It's a little tight. 4 bolts, easy job. I use a universal socket, which is, this particular one's a Craftsman. You can buy many different ones. I don't know if you can get a look at the teeth there on that, but it'll grab many different types of fastener head styles. This one is an 8mm universal. Comes in a Craftsman kit, whatever brand you like. It's about 17, 18 bucks, whatever. 1/4-inch drive work. There's nothing high torque here. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go on to use a T25 Torx bit to remove the motor from the assembly, and that's up here. We're going to take these 4 bolts out. As you can see, this is a Bosch product, BMW licensed, and like I say, it's $1,100-$1,200. Okay, so we've taken the 4 little T25 Torx bolts out that hold the motor onto the assembly, and as you can see here, I have it is the 21st century. I have my iPod here with Jeff Kaplan's video from YouTube. You just type in X5 transfer case actuator, BMW X5 transfer case actuator, and they show their whole video on how it's going to be done. So following his directions, I'm going to take this here and we're going to hold onto the sensor. We're going to gently wiggle this here. We want the sensor to come off. Now this is a critical part. Jeff explains it, but I can't emphasize it enough. I was careful to go back and look at the video. When you're pulling this assembly apart, okay, and this is how it's assembled here. You can see the gear turn. See the gear turn. When you pull this apart, grab this sensor and all of it together. And when you pull it out, make sure you pull it out together. That keeps all the motor brushes and everything. You want this all to come out together. So gently wiggle that and it'll come right out. And set that aside. Alright, the next thing we did, we've separated the motor. Next thing we did was right down in the very center on the shaft inside this area, there is a flat washer, and these gears are retained by a C-clip. Jeff explains it well in his video. I had no problem doing it, get under some good light, and I simply took two small screwdrivers, put them in the opening, and just gave them the old wishbone, and it popped right out. Make sure it's not going to fly across the room, and then you just dump it out. First comes the C-clip, and that's it right there. Nothing fancy. And then the washer's right behind that. And set those aside so you don't lose them. Next we're going to go after removing this retaining seal plate. And we're looking at the odometer gear guys videos, and we're going to follow that instruction and see how it goes. Okay, I'm having a little bit of difficulty prying that back plate off, and I might not have a thin enough screwdriver, so you can hear it running in the background. I'm going to take my bench grinder and regular stone wheel, and I'm just going to modify a crappy old Stanley screwdriver I got around here and see how it works out. Okay, well, it took about 5 minutes instead of 1 minute. Modified a screwdriver to dig a little bit, and Jeff's video explains it well. You want to get down under these corners. And I actually had to tap it a little bit to break some of the crust and stuff. But you keep working those corners, and this plate will pop. Be careful with it. It's got a seal on the back. You don't want to damage it. That comes right off. And as he pointed out in this video, the next technique is to take a screwdriver and go back up through where the motor was, get behind that gear a little, and you can just wiggle it, and it just comes right out of there. And there it comes. And sure enough, there's the gear, the actuator gear. And if you turn it around, there it is. There's the damage. Completely worn and gone. That's the source of the problem. And as he shows in his video, you should be able to just kind of separate these gears off here with each other. Maybe a little screwdriver there. Just give it a little pop. And let's see how it comes apart. A bit more. Okay, and there it comes right off there. There's the gear. That's the source of the problem. Worn. And we're going to try and replace it. So we followed the guy's advice, and we've cleaned the housing out with a little bit of a brakes parts cleaner without getting too much back here on this sensor seal. We have the defective part we've taken out. As I've shown you, there's the good side of it there, and as you rotate it around, definitely smoked. And what we're going to replace it with is, ta-da, brand new, identical gear made from the high temperature carbon fiber material by the odometer gear guys. Okay, so we've got the new gear from Odometer Gears reassembled with the other plastic mating component, and we're about to reverse the assembly process. I've cleaned out the housing with some brakes part cleaner, and I'm going to put just a dab on the gear of grease. And I like to use this full synthetic, they call it brake and caliper grease. I got it at Napa. It's extremely expensive. But great lubricity. Usually I use it for the sliding pins on brake jobs, but if you look through the description, it won't harm any plastic or rubber parts, and it does not melt at virtually any temperature. So we're going to go with just a dab of that on the gear, and then we're going to reassemble it. Okay, there we go. We've just put a coating of that synthetic grease onto the new gear from Odometer Gears, and just to provide some lubricity for that worm gear right there on the motor when it drives this gear. Okay, we're going to put this whole thing back together. Okay, so we've reassembled the motor to the gear housing using the T25 long handle wrench. You can use a socket if you want, but remember, don't be overzealous and tighten them. It's just a cast flange, just hold them together, so don't get crazy. And we're ready to put this baby back in the car. Okay, as you can see, there's no lights on. The new gear's in. I've driven it about 5 miles just to test it out with a couple accelerations. Let's see if we get the lights. We'll give it a little goose here. Let's see how she does. Not bad for a nearly 5,000-pound vehicle. No 4x4 lights, no ABS problems. Okay. So far, so good. Super easy change. I would say the entire job could have been done in an hour. I took a little time out to give us the brief on a video and stuff. But pretty straightforward. Let's pull over here. We'll give it one more shot here. Just see how she likes it. Okay. We're dead stopped. Here we go. Let's roll on a little bit of power. Well, that's 325 BMW horses at it, and no problem. And we will monitor it to see how it works out.